Welcome back, viewers. Ford Edge here, and of course we're going to go ahead and find out why does a $4 spark plug cause $1,000 to $2,000 worth of damage to your 2007 through 2010 Ford Edge. And I am talking about all sorts of issues that can happen because you neglect to change your spark plugs.
Welcome to MACT, and I hope you have a perfect time. This is a Mercy Go production.
And there's other issues that go with it, but we can all start out, and we're going to go along and trace what causes this expense. Now, I see on my Facebook page and also on some of the forums, there are people that are having problems with their Ford Edge and what happens to it and what causes the damage. So I want to sort of step through this whole situation here, and there are a lot of different things that I want to show you on my 2011, which is a 3.5 liter V6 engine, which is all the earlier models have in the 2007 through 2010. Now, as we step through this, I'm going to explain how this whole thing can happen to you and some of the ins and outs of the 3.5 that you do have to pay attention to. And some of the things that the Ford Edge 2007 through 2010 is very susceptible to for their coil over plug coils, that we call them COPs, COPs. And as far as the COPs, a lot of things can happen to those when they're working with a spark plug. Now, on top of that, there's other issues. So I'm going to just bear with me here, and we're going to step through this a bit. And I'm going to try to explain what's going on with your coil over plugs, your spark plugs, and how it all relates to a bad PCM eventually. So let's go ahead and look at what we're going to be showing you. Now, as you can see, we have our coils, which are 4, 5, and 6. And the other ones in back are 1, 2, and 3. That is how they set up on the right and left banks. Now, as you can see, they're covered by the air intake. One of the things that in theory and everything else is working against you on the coils is the fact that this air intake is over top of the coils. Well, a lot of heat gets trapped up underneath there, and it gets trapped and it causes more heating to occur on these coils, which in turn causes the coil to fail prematurely. More times than not, when you have a COP failure, it will be back here on this back bank, and these front banks very rarely are affected. So you want to make sure that if you start having problems, you might want to start looking at those back coils. Usually it's number 2 or number 3, and it stands to reason. Number 1 is right over here, has a little more airflow, but 2 and 3 are buried deep in there and will of course fail. Now, what else causes them to fail? Spark plugs, folks. When you don't take those SP411 spark plugs and pull them out and change them at about the 90,000 mark or earlier, what happens is these wires and everything else feed from the COP. Okay? Now, what happens is the coil overheats. Why does it overheat and cause failure? Because the spark plug, as the gap expands, it takes more energy for the COP to generate spark to fire the engine. So as this gap starts getting bigger and bigger, it puts more demands on the coil over plug coil. Once that happens, this coil will start overheating, and that will go for any of them if you let your spark plugs go too long. Now, as this overheats, eventually the overheating situation will cause your coils to then fail. Now, generally, like I said, you combination of heat from the engine and not changing the spark plugs will result in a failed coil. Now, what happens when the coil fails? When this coil back here fails, it sends the back feed of the power all the way to this. Okay? Yes, folks, this right here. This is the brains of your car. Now, that back feed of energy flows right into there. Okay? Once it flows into there, those are very small circuits in there. They overheat those circuits with the back feed of the energy from the failed coils routed all the way up through the harness and right into here. Once that back feeds into that, it will damage your PCM. That is your powertrain control module. That is the heart of your Ford Edge. If you damage that, just like if we damage our own heart, this will not operate properly. Now, what else could also happen? Well, you could also get back feed to your injectors. Okay? The last thing you want to do is cause your injectors to get any back feed, and that could cause them to damage too. So, overall, a $4 spark plug can cause you $1,000, $2,000 worth of damage. And that is definitely not what you need on your Ford Edge. So how do we alleviate it? It's real simple, folks. You change your plugs when you're supposed to. Don't stretch them out to 130, 140,000 miles. Okay? So you want to make sure you do get all this taken care of so you don't backfeed into that PCM. A new PCM from Ford is going to cost you about $1,000 or so if you have Ford do it. Now, some of those other places that you can send your PCM to are found in the MACTFORDEDGE Facebook page. There was a lot of folks there that have utilized services there. So I do stress to go there, or the Ford Edge forum, or FEWW, whatever Ford forum or Facebook page you want to go to. As long as they specify it a Ford, there's a lot of folks can help you. I'd prefer you come to my page and check it out, but there's a lot of help that can be done in any one of these. And the whole point is I want to help everybody and make sure you understand. So if you do have a situation where the engine's running rough and you got over 90,000 miles and you haven't changed your plugs, you have a strong possibility that you not only damaged your coilovers, but you also damaged your PCM, and it might have even ultimately affected a fuel injector. So how does this go? You take it to the dealer. They're going to have you pay for a new PCM because they won't send them out to get fixed. They're going to sell you a brand new one. So if you want to do it yourself, you can simply change it out yourself. There's only really 2 fasteners holding that thing in, and those are 3 clips. Boom, you mail it out, and then of course they send you back a repaired unit, which is your own unit, which they repair. Now, again, I just want everybody to understand that you can alleviate this situation by doing maintenance, changing your plugs. It might seem like an expense, but it's not that expensive when you think about how much it's going to cost you to fix all this. And the other thing, I just want to throw a side note on, if you don't change your plugs and say you do have 150,000 miles on them, well, as they start missing, they also start sending raw fuel that is unburned into your catalytic converter, and of course that's a whole nother mess right there all by itself. And then it can also damage O2 sensors. So ultimately, a $4 spark plug can create a whole lot of damage through your engine if you don't change them on time. So I hope you all learned something on this as far as the PCM failures and what the causes and effects are from not taking and doing proper maintenance on your spark plugs by changing them out. Get new spark plugs in there, folks. And then, of course, your earlier model Ford Edge, the first generation as we call it, is very susceptible to this issue. I have not seen a lot of this on the 1.5 refresh, which is the 2011 through 2014 model. So I think this is primarily held off to the first generation. And so far no carryovers for the second generation 2015 plus. So just keep that in mind. This is MACTFORDEDGE, and remember, every day that their feet hit the floor is a great day, and I of course am having a great day today, and I want you all to have a great day. And remember, go over here to Facebook And of course, like it, join Facebook, MACTFORDEDGE on Facebook, and also subscribe to my YouTube channel, the big YT, right? Where you get to see these videos as they come out, and you'll receive a notice that I have a new one that is out there. But by all means, subscribe, like, and of course keep watching the videos. And if you want to, get a hold of us on that Facebook page, because there's a few of the admins on there can definitely help you with some knowledge on these Ford Edges. And that's really what we're doing, and it don't cost you a penny, folks. All you got to do is hit the join button, and we answer your call for help free. Can't get any better than that. And by the way, we got the guru on there. He's always out there and about. Rumor has it that Manaran used to be an alligator wrestler, so you got to watch out for him. But anyway, he's also a good one to contact. He has a lot of base information. But anyway, Mercy Girl, take it away.
Thank you, MACT. This is a Mercy Girl production. Thank you for watching MACT's videos, and remember to like and subscribe.